Hello guys, my hair nice and blow dried. I didn't really do anything to it yet, and my skin is a little dry, maybe because I've been drinking Pepsi lately. I have to stop. I literally drunk Pepsi for 3 days out of a week, so basically for a week I had about 3 Pepsis, maybe 4, and I'm realizing that my skin is even more sensitive to soda since I didn't put myself on a super long-term diet of not drinking any. So now that I done went back to drinking some soda after not drinking it for a long time, I'm realizing my skin can't handle it. So I just officially cannot drink soda unless it's from Whole Foods. But I am creating this video today to share with you guys that I was 15 years a slave to the narc, to his family, to his character, to his mindset, to the way that he did things. I was 15 years a slave to his demonic plans against me. I was 15 years a slave to his snake-like moves of trying to hurt and harm me and do me injustice. 15 years a slave to being a dedicated and devoted wife. 15 years a slave to taking care of this man. 15 years a slave to putting up with his immature behavior, his irresponsibility, his stupidity, his selfishness, his unorthodox ways and mindset. Him being inconsiderate of me and my needs and my wants, only being concerned about his. 15 years a slave to the lies. 15 years a slave to the manipulation. 15 years a slave to, I don't know why my lips are chapped, and I had on Aquaphor, but I guess when I went to the orthodontist, they ruined that. But yeah, 15 years a slave to the gaslighting. 15 years a slave to mind control. 15 years a slave to being a sex toy. 15 years a slave to being lied to. 15 years a slave to being used as a puppet. 15 years a slave to being used for this person's personal agenda, evil agenda, demonic agenda. 15 years a slave to being treated like I'm not human. 15 years a slave to being accused of all kinds of things. 15 years a slave to being oppressed. 15 years a slave to being used. 15 years a slave to being mistreated. 15 years a slave to being sexually abused and taken advantage of. 15 years a slave of psychological abuse. 15 years a slave to being taken for granted. 15 years a slave to dedicating my life to this person, dedicating my time, my energy, my resources, my money, my credit, my life, my mind, my body, my spirit to this person. And God, He delivered me from this devil after 15 years of being in the wilderness. I was in the wilderness for 15 years, guys. And God delivered me and got me through the wilderness, but it took 15 years for God to bring me out of that. And maybe that 15 years a slave of being in the wilderness, maybe God's purpose was for me to just learn lessons. Maybe it was for God to shape me and mold me into the person that I am right now today. Maybe it was for God to show me who these people were. Maybe it was for God to wake me up out of my sleep, because I was in a slumber when I was with these narcissists. See, this narcissist has a family full of narcissists. So it's not just him, but it's his mother, his sister, his niece. They are a family of narcissists. Do you guys understand? It wasn't just him. It was his narcissistic family members also, on top of dealing with him, that I had to deal with also. 15 years a slave to being talked about behind my back. 15 years a slave to being plotted on. 15 years a slave of being ridiculed, humiliated, disrespected, ostracized. 15 years a slave of having my womanhood annihilated, mutilated, stripped away, cut down. My character being just sodomized. 15 years a slave to this dungeon of and cesspool of demonic activity, witchcraft and spells and potions. And I don't wish this on anybody. Do you guys understand? And maybe y'all need to see my chap lips, because y'all need to see the real. Y'all need to see authentic content. My hair is not done. It's clean. It's blow dried, but it's not curled. It's not flat ironed. I don't care. This message needs to get out, because see, this is what the devil wants. He wants to keep giving me excuses and to say, oh, Shantae, you're not camera ready. Well, forget being camera ready. This video ain't about me being camera ready. This message has to get out. Anyway, 15 years a slave to all of this suffering, all of this spiritual attack, spiritual war pent up against me, little old me. God chose me. For whatever reason, he chose me, and these people saw that. They was able to see what I did not see about me, and that made them jealous of me. That made them hate me. That made them want to destroy me. But God said, I got a purpose and a plan for you, Shantae. And these people who are against you, who have it out for you, who hate you, who want to see you dead, who want to see you lose, who want to see you perish off of this earth, no. I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. My Heavenly Father said, I'm going to prepare a table before your enemies, so they could sit down and watch you grow, watch you succeed, watch you flourish. And not only am I going to prepare a table, but I'm going to make these people sit at the table and digest the food that come from the fruits of your labor. They're going to have to ingest that. And they're going to have to see why I chose you and why I didn't choose them and why it has to be you and why it can't be them. God says, vengeance is mine. God told me, you don't get revenge on those people. You don't get involved. You don't get involved. God says, that's my job. So I said, okay, God. I said, okay, God, your will be done. And I decided, Sorry, guys, I dropped the phone. I'm about to put back my chopstick here. I said, okay, God, your will be done. And you know what? After I said, okay, Lord, your will be done, you know what God did? Started opening up doors, many doors. He was helping me get my rent paid in months I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. He was getting my utilities paid in months I was not aware of how I was going to pay my utilities. He was getting my car note paid for in days I was just like, Lord, I ain't got it. And it was getting paid. There was times where, shoot, I didn't even know how we was going to build to where we at right now, my son and I. But God was just providing a way to give us food, shelter, money. Anything that we needed to survive and to build, God was giving it. And he's still giving it. You feel what I'm saying? He's giving it. My Father is giving it to me. He's giving it to my son. He's blessing me. He's blessing my son. There was times where I thought my son was going to die, y'all, and I was crying. I was in my lowest of lows, and God healed my son. He's getting in the car with us right now. You want to be on camera, son? He don't want to be on camera, but God healed my son. God's been carrying me in ways that I'm just like in awe, like, Lord, I don't even deserve it. Let's get this car turned on and get the AC on. It's hot in here. You know, we're in Texas, so we in that season where it's starting to heat up. It's starting to get hot every day. Whew. I'll be right with y'all in 1 second. Okay, so I'm in the store now, but picking up a few things. But to pick up where I left off from the previous clip, God is a provider. God is a healer. God is a deliverer. And whatever you need God to do in your life, he will do it. All you got to do is trust and believe. God will do it. He will. I have learned these last 11 months to lean on God, to trust God in ways that I ain't never had to before in my life. But I was 15 years a slave to this devil. 15 years a slave to all of these demons that are taking precedence over this person, that control this person, all these entities. I was 15 years a slave to the shenanigans, the nonsense. I was 15 years a slave to dealing with a stronghold of frustration, dealing with this devil. 15 years a slave. 15 years a slave, y'all. When I bought you the curl tube thing, it wasn't from Walmart, huh? It was from Sally's, huh? It was Target? Are you sure? Well, I'm gonna check here first. This is the brand here. Huh? Are you smart with hair? Smart with hair? No, I'm actually still trying things and learning things. I'm not the person to get advice from. Okay, I'm gonna ask you anyways. What would be good for a good moisturizer for like always dry hair? I would use stuff that got fruit in it, like vitamin E, berries and stuff like that. And this is what I use right here, and it works pretty good. And I use oil. Okay. See, us African Americans, black women, black men, one of the things that'll keep our hair nice and healthy and stop our hair from breaking off is oil. So along with like the moisturizers, constantly put oil in your hair. Do an oil treatment on your hair. But this is what I use right here. Great stuff. Great stuff. Just massage it into your hair. Let it sit overnight. It's leave-in conditioner. That's the great thing about it. You don't ever have to wash it or rinse it out. And then find you an oil. Any kind of oil, olive oil, any kind of oil with like a vitamin in it or something. Okay. And that'll stop your hair from breaking off and being brittle and dry. But if we don't oil our hair break off. Yeah. So this and like any kind of oil. Okay. All right. I hope that was helpful. Sure. Let's see. Coily custard, jelly soft curls, multicultural curls, leave-in condition. You can use any one of these, Sean, but if you don't want any one of those, I guess we could check out Target and see what they got. But this is the same brand of the tube that you had. Yeah, you can get that, and then you want to check out Target for the tube. Yes. All right. How are you feeling? Looking like you hurting? You all right? Sorry, y'all. I put y'all through 3 minutes of nonsense content, but yeah. So 15 years a slave to the drama. 15 years a slave to the negative energy, the negative narratives that he created. You know, he always wanted to control the narrative when it came to our relationship. He wanted to control the narrative when it came to how he looked to his family and to other people. See, out in the open and out in public, he was this angel, but behind closed doors, he was a monster. He was a living monster, a living beast, a living demon behind closed doors. But out in the open, he was this angel. Best way I can explain is he was a gremlin, but then when you put water on him, which was the behind closed doors, he would turn into this evil gremlin. So it was like he shapeshifted in a way. Like he would be one person and then he would be another. And I'm gonna tell you, these people, they have several personality types. They do know how to switch between the personalities. They do know how to be a certain type of way they want to be when it's that right moment to be whatever it is they're trying to be at that moment. They know how to be ugly, nasty, and mean, and they know how to be nice, soft, caring, kind. They control it. It's a light switch, and they flip on that light switch off and on as how they see fit. But 15 years a slave to the BS, 15 years a slave to the nonsense, 15 years a slave to the foolishness, 15 years a slave to all of this stuff. That better last you a long time, because I'm not buying no more anytime soon. I'm going to teach you how to properly use that so that you're not running out fast. This is what he bought y'all. My 18-year-old son. Okay. Yes, 15 years a slave. I'm so God finally delivered me from all of that. I believe God allowed me to go through it also for me to share my story and testimony with you all. I believe there's a purpose for everything I'm going through in my life and that I have gone through. I believe that there is a purpose for me and why God put me on this earth to carry out his will. I'm just a character in God's story. God has a giant book, right? And it's a big story about mankind and about Satan and how it's going to end and how it starts and all that. If you just read God's word, you know how God's story ends, you know how it begins. But I'm just a character in God's story. Just like all the rest of you, we are all characters in God's story. Well, I'm going to end the video here. I don't want to keep this video too long. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace and blessings to you all. 15 years a slave in the wilderness, but it has deceased and it is no more. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and blessings to you all. I love you. Later.